Hey, welcome. You know that Buy Now button you just can't resist? Well, the moment you click it, you're setting in motion this huge, almost invisible network of decisions, warehouses, and trucks. Today, we're going to follow that click and pull back the curtain on the incredible journey your order takes to get from your screen right to your doorstep. I mean, have you ever really stopped to think about it? You tap a button on a screen, and somehow, within a couple of days, sometimes even just hours, a very specific thing from who knows where in the world finds its way to you. How on earth does that actually happen?
Well, spoiler alert, it's not a magic trick. It's a series of incredibly calculated, strategic decisions that all come together to form what's called a distribution network. And every single company that sells a product has to design one. The choices they make directly affect the price you pay and how long you have to wait. It all starts with one big, fundamental conflict.
Okay, so right at the heart of every single distribution network is this one major trade-off. It's this constant tug-of-war between what you, the customer, want, which is usually speed, and what the company needs to survive, which is keeping costs low. Getting that balance right, that's the whole game.
Think about it from both sides, right? For us, as customers, we want it all, and we want it now. We want super fast delivery, endless choices, and we never ever want to see that dreaded out-of-stock message. But for a company, trying to provide all of that means spending an absolute fortune on tons of warehouses, expensive shipping, and just piles of unsold stuff sitting around. So every network is really an attempt to solve this puzzle. How do we keep customers happy without going broke?
So how do companies actually solve this puzzle? Well, they choose a specific path for their products to take from the factory floor all the way to you. Let's break down 3 of the most common designs, and I guarantee you interact with all of them, probably without even realizing it.
First up is a model you've probably heard of, drop shipping. In this setup, the online store you're buying from is basically just a middleman. They don't have a big warehouse full of products. All they do is take your order and then ping the original manufacturer and say, hey, can you send one of these to this address?
The process itself is, on the surface, incredibly simple. You order from a website, that site just forwards your order details to the factory or the main supplier, and then that factory ships the product directly to you. For the online store, it's a super lean, low-risk way to run a business.
All right, next we've got this hybrid model that absolutely exploded in popularity. You've probably heard it called click and collect. This is where a big company with physical stores, think of a big box retailer, uses all of those locations as mini warehouses. You place your order online, but the item you want is already sitting on a shelf at your local store.
And here's the really clever part. In this model, you become the final delivery driver. By going to the store to pick it up yourself, you are handling what's known as the last mile of the journey. That's the final step of getting a package from a hub to a home, and it's almost always the most expensive part of the whole delivery process. So this model saves the company a ton of money on shipping.
And finally, we have the undisputed heavyweight champion of e-commerce, distributor storage. Think Amazon. Companies build these massive, strategically placed warehouses, they call them fulfillment centers, and just stock them to the gills with inventory. When you place your order, an army of workers and robots picks and packs it, and then a carrier like UPS or FedEx handles that final last-mile delivery right to your door.
Okay, this table really pulls everything together and links each model back to that core trade-off we talked about. Look at dropshipping. It's super cheap to run and can offer a huge variety of products, but you pay for it with slow, sometimes really slow, delivery times. Customer pickup is fast, but your options are limited to whatever happens to be in stock at that one store. And then you have the distributor model, which kind of gives you the best of both worlds. It's fast and has tons of variety, but it costs an absolute fortune to run. This is why there's no single best answer. It's always a strategic choice.
Now, the reason we even have all these different models is because the explosion of online shopping just completely shattered the old way of doing business. It created a problem on a scale that the world had literally never seen before.
Just get a load of that number, $5.7 trillion in 1 year. The old retail networks were built for something completely different. They were designed to send huge pallets of products to a few hundred stores. They were just not built to handle this kind of insane direct-to-you demand.
So how did a system that was designed to stock shelves handle millions upon millions of tiny, individual packages going to millions of different homes every single day? Well, the short answer is it couldn't. Not even close. The game had completely changed, and the old rulebook was totally useless.
And here's exactly why it was such a mess. Instead of shipping a whole truckload of TVs to one big store, companies now had to ship one TV to one house, and then another single TV to the house next door.
They had to do this millions of times a day, way faster than ever before, all while trying to manage this flood of returns coming back from individual customers. It was a whole different ballgame.
So as we wrap all this up, what's the big picture here? What should you remember the next time you're obsessively tracking a package on your phone?
If there's just one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. You are the architect of this entire system. Your demand for speed, your love of having endless variety, your expectation that returns should be free and easy, all of these things are the signals that force these giant global networks to constantly adapt and evolve. Every single click you make is a vote for how this whole system should work.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. We are constantly pushing for more and more convenience, but as we demand that our packages show up in 2 days, then 1 day, then maybe in just a few hours, what are the hidden costs of all that speed? For the planet, for the workers inside these systems, and for the companies desperately trying to keep up. It's definitely something to think about the next time you click Buy Now. Thanks for joining me.